So this is a long overdue home theater tour, so to speak. I'm gonna kind of go over what I have and how I have it set up and what I've done so far. So this is the room. I'm gonna start with the speakers. I have, let me go back a bit. Definitive Technology BP8080 STs as the front main speakers. Also just added a Definitive Technology CS9080. I just replaced it with, I originally had a CS8040 HD, which was passive. This one has a built-in subwoofer, which is so I can run it full range. Up there I have, these are my height speakers, which I installed before the Atmos craze, when height speakers were kind of more of a thing. They can still be used as Atmos speakers and they sound fine, honestly. They're at the top of the screen, so you kind of get that sense of height. And these are the Definitive Technology StudioMonitor 55s, and they're up there. So now the big boys down here are the SVS PB-3000s, and they are awesome. Those are also really new. I got them a couple months ago, and I already did, I had them calibrated using the SVS app, which is great. So just to clarify on what I used to calibrate or do room EQ on the subwoofers, well, I used this mini DSP microphone, which looks like this. It's actually, the model number is the UMIC-1, and it's supposed to be really good and actually worked just fine. You connect it to your home theater PC or whatever, or laptop, and you run some sweeps, and you can use the parametric equalizer built into the SVS subs to EQ. To perform EQ on the on your room. I only did it on my main seating position, which is this one, this seat. So I kind of have it set up as this sweet spot for bass, but you know, it sounds really good everywhere. It sounds pretty good. But if you're more interested in using, I also used REW to perform the sweeps. You connect it to your HTPC, and you run the measurements, and so you can actually see a graph on the screen. There's plenty of people that know a lot more about this on YouTube, so you just search for REW and subwoofer or bass EQ, and I'm sure you'll find people that know how to do a lot better than I do. So that's how I EQ'd my subs. So the surrounds are, I had to write everything down. So they're the Definitive Technology SR8080 BPs. So they're bipolar speakers. So they got speakers on each side. At the time, I thought it'd be great because I'd have 2 rows of seats, so each seat would kind of get, you know, a good sound. But I've since heard that they're not ideal for Atmos, and they recommend kind of like monopole speakers like these. So these are the Definitive Technology ProMonitor 1000s. Those are surround backs. And up top, I got some in-ceilings, which are Infinity CS60Rs. I got a really good deal on them for like 50 bucks a pair. And unfortunately, I was looking for a good deal due to the fact that I had to actually get somebody to, like, you know, run new cables up to them from the receiver area, which is over here. The receiver is a Pioneer Elite SC LX901, so it's 11 channels. So 11. So right now I have it set up as a 7.2.4 setup. And this is an oldie but a goodie, is the Epson 5030UB, which still is awesome in my opinion. I have not upgraded to an HDR one because frankly I'm waiting for Epson to make a non-pixel shifting one, or at least get a little closer to like native 4K. I'd be fine if they use pixel shifting, but they're basically going from 1080 to 4K, and it's just not, I just don't see the point to upgrade. I'm just cutting in here. I should mention that I am aware that the 5050UB has been reviewed tremendously well. So I'm not saying that the current pixel shifting Epsons are not good. I am saying that at this time I just don't want to incur the expense of acquiring a new projector, because this one's meeting my needs just fine. And I'm highly aware that the 5050UB and probably the 5040UB are superior products to this one. I'm just not gonna upgrade right now. That's all. I'm able to use my home theater PC down there, which is running Mad VR, so I can still tone map my 4K movies to standard SDR, I guess. I also wanted to explain a little more of how I tone map using the home theater PC, which is also my Plex server, which is great. So I use a combination of Mad VR and Kodi. Kodi is actually I use kind of like a special version of Kodi called the direct show version of Kodi. It's called the DS Kodi DS or DS player, which actually is able to tap your GPU, which in this case this PC has a 1070 GTX 1070, which is more than enough. It taps, so this DS player taps into the GPU, which allows it to play like 4K UHD movies just fine. Also, and with combination of the DS player, Kodi DS player and Mad VR, it can tone map the files, and you can actually control, depending on what your projector capabilities are, or it doesn't even have to be like any display. You can specify what its peak nits are, and kind of like configure it. Since this is kind of like a, most projectors, even the newer 5050s, don't put out enough light to actually do full HDR without some kind of tone mapping. So, but the 5050 and 5040 UBs have like built-in tone mapper, like built into the projector. So you have to like set a dial of some sort. I don't know. I've seen videos on it. But so Mad VR, fantastic. So combination of DS player and Mad VR allows me to play HDR content, and it actually looks really good. And I'm very happy with it. That's why I'm not really in a rush to buy a new projector. Hope that explains it. So what's left? I have the screen itself is an Elite Screens ER120WH1, which is has a gain of 1.1, which is fine. Right now I have all the lights on for the tour, but it works great, even for 4K stuff. Even though the projector is not capable of 4K, but honestly it looks great. I can still watch 4K stuff and it looks okay. I treated the room with acoustic panels. I got them from acoustimac.com. you know, I did not have this room measured or anything, but I tried to have it set up where it's, you know, where the first reflections, at least, I kind of went with a little more than I needed, and probably a lot of people are going to criticize this, but I also went with these bass traps. So this one in the corner is a bass trap, and up there in the top ceiling, those are bass traps. That's a bass trap over there, bass trap up there, and another one there. And this is kind of an odd room, so it's hard to, it's not like a rectangle, so I kind of had to, you know, the doors are right there and they're like double doors, so there's really nowhere to put acoustic panels, so I just kind of put one here, bass trap there, which is, it would also work as a non-bass trap panel, and I also just put one there. It's pretty good. So yeah, this is it. Oh, and the should mention the chairs. There's 8, and they are Pallisers. I don't remember the model name, but I got them in hometheaterseats.com. All the seats are automatically, they recline automatically, like so. Also, of course, added like an area rug to help with, you know, just to add. I originally had just bare floors, and I just added this rug about a couple of years ago, and it helped a little bit, but nothing has helped so as much as the panels. I forgot to mention there's panels up here, which also for the first reflection up in the ceiling. And yeah, it's a great room. Sounds awesome. And maybe one day I'll give some kind of demonstration, which would be really cool. Also, I have, I should mention, I have the Logitech Elite remote, which is, if you don't have one of these, or a Logitech Harmony remote, you're missing out. These are literally the best remotes out there. I must have like 4 or 5 in the whole house. I'm kind of obsessed with these things. If you take the time to set them up, they can pretty much do anything. Highly recommend them. Also, the 5038 is also capable of 3D, which is great. I occasionally use them. It's a dying format, but I still like them. These are the glasses. I forgot to mention that I recently had these put in. These are speaker terminals, and I ran some really thick gauge wire, which, you know, you don't really need to, but it just looks cool. Running to the, so it has the sub cable and the banana plugs for the speakers, for the main speakers. Also, I don't know if you could notice, but I do have to repair this because I actually ran a new power connector, so I can plug this thing in. I originally had like a cable running on the floor, and that didn't look very good, so I actually had an electrician come and put in a new power socket. So this is something you need to keep in mind. If you're going to buy one of these, you got to get power to it, because like I said, the original center channel that I had was passive, so I didn't need it. And I think I did that on purpose to save money, but now since I upgraded to this one, and I wanted to keep all definitive technology speakers because I had invested so much money into this brand, and frankly they work great. So probably going to keep this setup for a long time. And great. I just want to mention how long it's taken me to get to this point in this room. It's been over 6 years in the making. It originally started as a 7.1 setup with a completely different receiver, and I had it that way for maybe 3-ish years, maybe a little more. And I didn't even have the big subs. I was just using the subs that are built into the Definitive Technology 8080 STs. Just want to say this has been a total work in progress. To get it to be Atmos or to be set up for 11 channels, I added the ceiling speakers and the rear surrounds, which I had to pay somebody to run wiring, repaint, fix the drywall, and all that. So I added the back surrounds and the ceiling speakers, and I recently added the subs. So again, I didn't do this overnight. It wasn't planned like this. It's just been something that's taken a long time. It's not something that just happened overnight. So if there are certainly more impressive and more expensive setups, but this is kind of like middle of the road. And even though when you add up all the cost of every single thing that's been done in here, it's a lot of money, but I think the results are pretty spectacular. I'm quite happy with it, and yeah, can't wait to keep enjoying it. Hope you enjoyed the tour. Yeah, I'll continue watching Star Wars.